Both wearing light colors. That's the first time.
Weird, actually. I mean, don't be deceived. I have black on underneath this. Hey guys, welcome back. Are you making fun of me?
Yep. I was dealing with Remy does something.
Come here, D. Come here, buddy. So, if you're following our daily channel, you know that, was it last Friday? But we kind of like...
We were trying to figure out what we did last Friday.
Yeah, it's a blur as you get older. But we kind of talked a little bit about this new step in our family building process, if you wish. How it's a little bit different this time around than the first time around with our first child. And we talked a little bit about it there, but I kind of wanted to go a little bit more in depth here with Charles on my channel. I feel like you guys might be a little bit more interested in it than the daily vlog. First off, this is Charles. I don't know if everybody knows that, but I feel like most people here do know that this is Charles. He's my husband. But I wanted Charles to be in on this particular video because I feel, obviously, he's one part of this process, and I feel like it would be wonderful to have him kind of explain a few things and kind of be there with me when we talk about this. We have, I should say, have a 2.5-year-old daughter. She's gonna be 3 actually in July, so she's a little bit older than that.
Insane to think about.
Give a little history on your health and why we had Remy when we had Remy.
So I had like brain tumor removed 3 times, and as a result, to control it, I had chemo. And then on the third...
When was the last...
We were trying to figure that out. I can't remember. It was just...
So it was after your second brain surgery, but it was like way after your second brain surgery, but you were on chemo for a very long time.
When you first started dating, I got off, and then shortly after getting off, I had to go back on, I believe.
And you were on and off?
No, I was off. See, I don't even remember.
No. A lot of our relationship, Charles was on chemo. I want to say it was like, because we got pregnant after we got married. Time frame is a little off, but we got pregnant after we got married. I want to say about a year and a half after we got married, we ended up getting pregnant with Remy.
Yeah.
What happened was we had to wait from what our doctors told us, and what his doctors told us. We had to wait about 3 years before we could try and conceive a baby. And that was, like I said, years ago, and based off of the medical research and the science and what they knew in that particular...
That's what they advised.
Yes, that's basically what they advised. So we waited 3 years, and it was not long after that 3-year period hit that we ended up getting pregnant with Remy. And it was pretty crazy because you were off. It
was like literally off, and then we
got pregnant.
It was like perfect timing.
Yeah, so it was like that 3-year mark hit, we got pregnant, and then it wasn't but a few months after we got pregnant that unfortunately Charles had to go back on to chemotherapy.
Yeah, it's just an oral pill instead of the IV version. So it wasn't one that debilitated me too much. It would give me headaches and make me tired every once in a while, but it wasn't anything to where like I was debilitated. I went on tour, I played shows. I think a lot of people
intravenous, isn't that what they call it?
Yeah, intravenous or something like that. But yeah, I was on those things, and then I think it was just literally almost not to the day, but it was pretty close.
So Remy's almost 3. You're pregnant for a year, and then we had to wait 3 years. So think about the time frame. It's like a 7-year stretch. Okay,
oh my God,
roughly almost 7 years. And so there's just so much. There's so many medical advances. There's so much more information out there. There's so much more that they've learned, and they learned every single day. And so every time that we would go into the doctor, you know, obviously his health is first and foremost, and would be the most important thing ever. But once we went through, you know, so many steps to make sure that Charles was okay and that he did everything that he needed to do, and that he went through his chemotherapy, and that he did the radiation, and then he went through the chemotherapy again, and then they kind of gave him like, you're doing great, you can get off of chemo. We asked, like, is it an okay time, or when would be an okay time to try and have another baby? And what did they tell you? Was it like 6
I think it was 6 months to a year. I think one person said 3 months to 6 months, but then another one said 6 months to a year. So
which that sounds terrible, but it's not meant to be. Like...
Well, it's not, yeah, because there was one was a radiologist and it was the neurologist, and we took the 6 months to the year one as more of a, because we felt more comfortable accepting that number than 3 to 6 months, because we were just like, that seems a little too close. So
and it made you more comfortable.
It made me more comfortable, because that was something that I wanted to make sure. I mean, that was something where I was terrified with Remy. It turned out we got baby genius over there.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing. She's pretty amazing.
So yeah, I think that was one thing that we took into account, and yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we took into account with this situation.
Here we are now, wanting to have baby number 2. We've been trying for roughly like 8 months, and I feel weird because I don't feel like I need to give like vivid details of like we're like trying like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's not like that with us. We've been trying for roughly about 8 months, very casually, but trying nevertheless. This time around, we kind of were told that it might be a little bit more difficult due to a lot of the trauma.
I think it's compounding from
like the
previous and then the additional.
Yeah, so like trauma, all that stuff that went on with Charles, us being a little bit older, probably doesn't help either. And then also the fact that I'm not tracking and I'm not doing all of the apps and the ovulation things and
I'm a
all
dad
of the
nerd.
above.
I should probably download it.
Charles did with Remy. He knew
did.
every. Oh
I
my
was
God, it's
sneaking
crazy.
it. You didn't even know I did.
No, it was insane. And when I found out, it was insane. But we're just, this time around, for instance, with Remy, it was such a shock that we got pregnant relatively quick. We knew that with this time around that it would potentially be a little bit harder. With our first child, we were in such shock that it was like, we enjoyed the process, but I felt like it's a lot. I mean, if you have your first baby, it's a lot. It's just like a lot, getting pregnant and like going through that with your spouse or your significant other.
Because, I mean.
Or alone.
For me, I was in shock because I had no idea how to do anything with it. I think for a long time, I didn't even hold her. But
I'm talking about before she was born.
Oh, before? No, yeah.
I mean, you were pretty excited, but it's just a lot to take on. Like it's a lot to take in and take on.
I was really excited.
Yeah, of course.
And nervous, incredibly nervous.
But
for the health reasons, and I didn't want to transmit anything.
I think that's
to
always
you,
been a
to
kind
her,
of which they kind of clarified that
was not a thing.
That what you have is not necessarily a genetically
it was just
transferred type of thing.
bad deck of cards, I guess you could say.
But you're doing great.
I'm doing great now.
So this time around, we're casual like we were the first time around, but we're also trying not to put too much stress on ourselves, which sounds so contradicting because if you've watched some of my past videos, I'm very honest with like my reaction to the pregnancy test and taking it, and then like the results of the pregnancy tests that I do take, which are very honest and very genuine reactions. Some people have mentioned it's a little bit strange and a little bit contradicting because there are many other things that I can do to kind of not even ensure, but like, make it a little bit easier for me to potentially conceive by doing these other things, like ovulation strips and like keeping track of my all of these things.
Get a beaker and just start like
pretty much. Pretty much. But I think that Charles and I agreed this time around that we didn't want to stress each other out so much because of everything that he has gone through and that we have gone through together as a couple.
And we discovered stress is equal to even worse.
Yeah. And it
makes it even harder.
And I have people in my life that have experienced such a difficult time getting pregnant, and to see the stress that they go through, it breaks my heart so much. We are lucky enough to have Remy that we love so much. She's the best and we're so lucky to have her, and we both feel that if we only had Remy that
we'd be okay.
That sounds terrible.
If
we only have Remy, we'd be okay. But we would. We'd be like,
we always say that she's our miracle child.
Yeah, we love her so much and she brings us so much joy, and if that is the way that the cards aligned and she was meant to be.
We're lucky that we got her.
Yeah, we're so lucky and blessed to have her in our life. So with baby number 2, we are very hopeful and we are trying and we really want another baby. Boy or girl, it doesn't matter.
Remy prefers a boy sometimes and a girl sometimes.
I feel like it's like girls on the weekends, boys during the week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like back and forth.
But I think
she just wants a baby.
Yeah, I think she just wants a baby too. But we'd love to have a sibling for her, but we know that it's not necessarily up to us and, all the above. But with this time around, we just want to do it a little bit. We just don't want to put the stress on ourselves. Even though we might have moments of like sadness and moments of kind of turmoil when there is negative pregnancy tests, that's something that we know happens, and like that's part of this process. And we're just trying to navigate this second round easily like we did in the first time.
It's kind of hard to replicate it because you're aware of what we're doing. We weren't aware.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to replicate not knowing when you're knowing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So we're just like I said, we're just trying to take it for what it is. If we were meant to have another baby, we're going to have another baby. I know a lot of you will probably continue to say, like, we really want it, we should do our the ovulation strips, and there's so many different apps and things like that. My sister's even mentioned it to me, and I've highly considered it. We both have highly considered it.
I have the app downloaded, the other one.
You do. God, you're so silly. But I know that the biggest thing with this time around is we're trying so hard not to stress about it, and we're trying so hard not to worry too much. I think like being sad and upset and frustrated sometimes is totally natural, you know.
Normal. I think it's normal.
But I don't think that it's a stressor, if that makes sense.
Everyone's gonna be disappointed in that situation, but it's also encouraging too. I think
it is probably encouraging to you.
The guys have it the best.
But we're having fun trying, and we're very hopeful that we'll get pregnant hopefully this year. I mean, that's my hope, that we get pregnant this year. I'd love to be pregnant with my best friend. It'd be awesome.
That would be pretty cool. You were pregnant with your sister.
I was. It would be so cool.
Yeah,
it would be so cool. We're taking it day by day. Like I said, we're super hopeful. I know there's a very drawn out explanation of leading up to this, why it is a little bit different this time around. To have baby.
And you're along for her journey and our journey.
Yeah, and I'm happy we get to share it more vividly this time and more honestly and openly this time, because first time around was just so much. But
we had no idea.
Yes, it's just so much.
We're prepared now.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for always being so supportive and for always like giving me great ideas and like, you know, trying to help us out in any way possible. We love you so much for that. We'll continue to keep you updated.
If you have a story too, your story, share it in the comments. Allie would love to read it.
We would love to read it. One of the things I love so much about being in this social media realm is that you meet so many people that are going through something similar. Just that you guys can share in those similar moments in your life, and I love that so much. So like Char said, if you have a story, or you yourself are going through trying to have another baby or trying to have your first baby or whatever it may be, I'd love to talk with you in the comment section. So please feel free to write it down below. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to follow our daily channel. And we've got lots of adventures. So you can see the little one we're talking about. Yes, and you can see all the adventures that we're going on. But thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.